Chapter 68, Dual Date. 2 days later, at a stadium in the city that could accommodate 3,000 people. This place was already contracted to hold this death match. Although the city prohibited similar events from taking place, today's occasion would decide whether North Gate will disband or not, and thus the city officials decided to turn a blind eye on it. On top of that, the director of the city police bureau and many officials even came here to spectate. In addition, there were also representatives from underground forces. After all, everyone wanted to watch an event like this live, when even the city officials compromised for the very first time to allow this fight to take place. If the police representative, Su Cheng, lost the fight, then the police and the city officials' expressions would be funny to watch. Many rich people also came for the name, like the people that saw Su Cheng fight before back at the West Gate's casino, or those that wanted to witness the power of the North Gate leader. Then, there were also the people that were previously offended by Su Cheng that came to see how Su Cheng gets beaten to death, like young Master Yun and his buddies. There were also Lindong and his brother and a few friends. They already came into the stadium, found a seat, and were just waiting for the fight to begin. It was still about an hour away from the fight at 12, and there were already 1,000 or so people in the stadium. Among them, the representative from the city police's arrival attracted a lot of attention. They directly went to a VIP room. However, what was surprising was that people of the military region of Shangcheng also came. Among them were Yan Wei, Wu Hao, Wang Ying, Shi Wenbin, and their head instructor. The head instructor originally didn't want to come, but he was forcefully dragged over by Wang Ying. So many people came from the police, the government, and even the military, causing the stadium to immediately become more lively. Seizing the opportunity before the fight began, many people came over and greeted them. As for those who openly say they supported someone, who they actually bet their money on would be another story. At least 98% of the people attending today's event had at least heard of the power and influence of the North Gate leader, and most knew nothing about Su Cheng. Thus, the support was almost one-sided. The representatives from the other 3 gates also came. Seeing so many officials arrive, the East Gate representative of port trade, the West Gate representative of legally operating casinos, and the South Gate representative of the food and real estate industry all came to greet each other. Such rare guests, you should have told us ahead of time that you were coming so we could have gotten more VIP rooms ready. The representative of West Gate came up to shake hands. The police director lightly snorted and calmly said, "What do you mean rare guests? Don't we see each other often? I think we will be seeing each other even more in the future, perhaps at our place." This was basically disguised provocation. The officials were very disdainful towards these people. The 4 gates of Shangcheng had always been the most headache-inducing black history of the city, and eliminating them was also the mission that the police director of every term strived to complete. But, the foundation of these forces were simply too deep, just the power of the current director alone was not enough to eradicate them. However, the police force never gave up on the thought of chewing this hard bone, and all departments were keeping a close eye on them in an attempt to try and catch someone in the act. This was also the real reason the actual gang leaders behind these 4 sects rarely showed themselves in public. However, this time, Su Cheng accidentally triggered the North Gate gang leader. North Gate was already living a pretty uncomfortable life, doing the worst out of the 4 gates, yet now they were even humiliated by a little patrol officer. If this patrol officer didn't even get punished, then the integrity and influence of North Gate would drop to an all-time low. By then, it wouldn't make a difference whether North Gate was dead or alive anymore, and that was why the North Gate leader decided to use this opportunity to send 2 messages to the world. First of all, the gang leader was still alive. Second of all, he was going to kill a police officer in front of all the officials to prove their domineering power and how big their balls are. Hearing the police director's words, the representatives of the 3 gates only smiled and didn't talk back. At this time, even if they could win a verbal war, the police might be even tighter on their asses in the future, so it wouldn't be worth it. After all, they were just the batch that occupied power and resources early but were now forced to lay low and undergo transition, and the officials were the ones in power. Thus, there was no need to openly declare war on the police. After all, only dumb people would try to fight a battle against the police and the country. Boss, we also just wanted to restart our life and live lawfully, just give us a chance, the people from the three gates jokingly said. The director faintly smiled. Sure, the country can give you new identities the moment you give back everything you earned unlawfully. Oh right, it wouldn't be enough to just give you new identities. Your heart and soul are already rotten and need treatment. How about this? Cooperate with us for a treatment of 15 or 20 years. If you don't want to cooperate, we might have to treat you for a lifetime. The faces of the three representatives slightly darkened. At this time, a lackey wanted to demonstrate how loyal he was, so he shouted at the police director, even the judge will ask for evidence before sentencing someone. Just as he finished, the representative of Westgate slapped him across the face. Are you qualified to talk here? The director faintly smiled. Yeah, you should discipline your men well, or else we won't even know when trouble can come from those loose lips. Okay, it's time to watch the battle, we don't need your hospitality anymore. The three representatives received the message to leave, so they had no choice but to walk out with their men back to their seats. Right after the police director sent those guys away, a tall and burly man of almost 50 years old, with a big kind smile and wearing a black karate uniform, came over to shake his hand. The director could act mighty in front of those representatives, but he couldn't act too arrogantly in front of him, because this guy was the gang leader of Northgate. I have long heard of your fame, and I never thought I would see you on the fighting stage in my lifetime, the director faintly greeted with a fake smile. Gate Master Yan laughed and replied, I'm too old. In the past, I was able to kill on stage a martial arts master that was said to be the best in all of Southeast Asia. In the blink of an eye, over 20 years had passed, and today I actually have to fight a brat. Sigh. I guess I have to put my life on the line in order to protect the memorable things. The director also laughed and replied, people won't be able to take anything with them when they die. Sometimes it's better to just let go. Gate Master Yan nodded, then looked around at the dozen or so city officials. He pretended to be flattered and said, I didn't expect so many visitors from the city and police, now I'm a bit worried. Director, worried about what? Gate Master Yan, worried that if I kill the patrol officer later on stage, the police and army would surround this place. We agreed to the death match, so we won't. The director smiled and continued, but then of course, if Mr. Yan can't keep his men under control and lead to a change in nature of today's event, then I will have this place immediately surrounded. In another corner, Shen Yao quietly sat with Ran Jing in a long dress. Between them sat Lin Chuxu in a hat and a pair of sunglasses. At that moment, her phone rang. She immediately picked up the phone after seeing the number. Sis, we are here. Where are you and my brother-in-law? Lin Chuxu quickly replied, Lei, take mom and dad directly to the Four Seasons Hotel first. I know dad hasn't had authentic Chinese food for a long time, so I already booked a table at a restaurant. You bring them back to the hotel first, and Su Cheng and I will come to pick you guys up in a bit. Lin Lei bitterly smiled, is this okay? Dad will be angry. He especially came to see you and brother-in-law, so I will get smacked if I tell him to wait. You know, Dad is still pretty muscular. Otherwise, I would have already rebelled to do whatever I want. Lin Chuxu gritted her teeth and replied, can you stall them for me? I will send you the address in a bit. I'm busy over here.